It is early June and there is so much color in my New Hampshire Zone 5B garden. Let's go on a walkabout. The side walkway bed is exploding with color. I just love this bed this time of year. Towards the very front we have a white dianthus, and right behind it is more of a hot pink dianthus. Right behind that is yet another dianthus. And I'm just going to bring you in closer so you can see how beautiful they are. This is the cheddar pink dianthus. And what I love about it is the silvery blue color of foliage that it has. And I just love how all three of these dianthus complement and play with each other so nicely in the garden. They really just make a garden space explode in color. The peonies are absolutely gorgeous right now. Many of them are still budded up, but I'll be sure to show you which ones are blooming because they're just all so pretty. The tall purple baptisia or false indigo is in its glory, and I love showing you different angles here just so you can see how nicely everything is playing together. We have a beautiful white colored peony, and the peony is not blooming quite yet. It's budded up, but I wanted to just show you how pretty that's going to look when it opens up. This is the next day and the white peonies opened up. And I wanted to show you them because they're just so pretty. And you know how it is with peonies. They can change overnight. So they're a white color, but in the center is a creamy yellow color. I really enjoy having this color of peony in my gardens because I find I have a lot of different shades of pink. So it's nice to also have this color just to complement with the pink peonies. And then right here, just look how beautiful that is. I just think that's so gorgeous. All the colors that you see right in that frame. So we have some beautiful peonies, and then right behind it is false indigo or baptisia. So striking. And we have a repetition of the dianthus basically all the way around this flower bed. The pansies are still blooming, and I'm enjoying them because they're adding a little bit of that yellow color in this flower area. Dianthus are so easy to divide. That's how I got all of these plants. I just started with one of each color and I divided them over the last few years, probably I'd say the last 5 to 7 years. These tall leaves that you see here, they are bloodroot. It's an ephemeral woodland plant, but I actually have them in full sun here, and they're doing quite well. I'm going to take you in just so you can see this peony here and what it looks like. I don't have the names. I've had many of these peonies for a number of years in my garden space. And right behind the peonies are sea holly or eryngium. They are all budded up. They will eventually be blooming for us, and they're going to provide such a beautiful blue color in this area. Out of all the spaces in my garden, I really am enjoying this one because this is where I exit and enter my home the most. We put this container pot together. These pelargoniums or geraniums are geraniums that I overwintered bare root, and then we woke them up together, and I think they're looking great. There are also some annuals that we started from seed tucked in here. We have the white color as well as the vibrant blue color of trailing lobelia. And then we also have a vinca vine. It's a variegated vinca vine. It's usually not hardy here where I live, so I overwinter it in my garage. But I'm really pleased with how this red, white, and blue container is looking. And here on the other side of my porch is the other container that matches it. We put these window boxes together a few weeks ago. Eventually they'll make it up to my bedroom balcony. I haven't had a chance yet to power wash up there, but once I do, these guys will be heading up there. But look how pretty they look. And they are filled with petunias that we started from seed, as well as more of the annual trailing vinca vine, the variegated vine. And then towards the center there is a type of Lysimachia. And then we also have some creeping jenny in here. That's that nice chartreuse green color that you're seeing. Here on the side porch are a couple of window boxes that we put together, and they are really starting to fill in. This is a beautiful perennial, and it's called lamium or dead nettle, and it actually will be blooming pretty soon. We also have some Lysimachia that's not hardy here where I live, but I overwintered it in my garage, and that's a nice spiller in a container pot. There are also some impatiens that we started from seed. We've had a bit of a cool, wet spring so far, so the impatiens are not very happy, but they'll take off before you know it. And you can see here that the lamium is blooming a pretty pink color. I have lamium in a couple of different colors in my landscape. And here's another one of the window boxes just on the other side of my porch, looking very pretty. Between my garage doors, we put together this container pot, and it's looking very beautiful. Trailing down, we have the creeping jenny. It's the chartreuse green color. We also have dead nettle or lamium, and both of those plants are perennials here where I live, so it's always nice to be able to tuck in a perennial inside of our container pots. We have some really pretty pink colored geranium or pelargoniums that I overwintered, bare root, and they're looking very nice. We also have a couple of Dusty Miller in here. Dusty Miller are not hardy here in New Hampshire, Zone 5B, so I was able to overwinter those. And then in the center, it's still very small, it's going to take off eventually, is a type of grass. I believe it's called Mohawk grass, but I'll put it up on the screen. I'm very pleased with how this pot is looking. I'm not really going to show you too much of what's blooming in the plant nursery. We're going to go by that for today. But I do want to head down here, down my driveway, and I want to show you some of the hanging baskets. I have a number of hanging baskets along my driveway, but they're looking so pretty. You'll see that I have the same kind of plants throughout my yard. We have the creeping jenny, which is right over here, impatiens that we started from seed, dead nettle or lamium, which is a perennial in my yard, as is the creeping jenny. And I'm really pleased with how these are filling out. I call this the long border. It's a full sun area, and here is a clematis that we cut back really hard in the springtime. And I had mentioned to you I wasn't sure if it was a type 1, type 2, or type 3 clematis. And I'm happy to report we have a beautiful bloom on it. Look how pretty that is. And if you peek in there, we have another one that's budded up that will be blooming before you know it. Very pretty. And right near the clematis is a fringed bleeding heart. And I've mentioned before that this plant can be in sun, it can be in shade, it will bloom spring, summer, and fall. It is such a great plant to have in the garden. And I'm especially enjoying it next to my clematis that's blooming. Close by to this area are a whole bunch of peonies that are all budded up. They are ready to explode with color. At the base of the peonies are some annuals that I started from seed. They are bouncing back slowly. We had some very cool and wet weather this spring, as many of you have, so the begonias really didn't like it. But they are starting to bounce back. In fact, I'm going to be giving them some Miracle Grow. I really want to be fertilizing them at least once a week, and I think that will make them happier. Well, I might as well show you these because I have them pulled out. I got these from my plant nursery. They are dianthus that I winter sowed probably 2 years ago, and they're not ones that I have anywhere else in my yard. I was thinking of tucking them in towards the front of this flower space. I think it would look really pretty here. They're a perennial, so I would get that instant pink color in the springtime just by putting them in this space. And we have more of the French bleeding heart on the other side of this area here. I will show you one of the peonies here is blooming. Isn't that pretty? Let's head around the corner here. We recently planted some iris in this flower bed, and you can see they're starting to go by, but I'm excited to have added some iris on this side of my garden. Here in the back, we have the old-fashioned bleeding heart, and it is still blooming and still looking gorgeous. And here's yet another iris that we tucked into this garden space very recently. I love iris, and I just am looking forward to adding more of them into my garden space. We have some roses nearby, and you can see that they're all budded up. The oxeye shasta daisy looks so glorious, that nice bright white color. And I'm really happy I added them in this garden space to complement nicely along with my peonies. Just imagine how pretty it's going to look to have the white of the oxeye shasta daisy blooming along with this very pretty pink colored peony. Here is an iris that is opened up still. So we had planted quite a few of this particular iris around in this garden space. And just imagine as they multiply over time how pretty they're going to look here. I'm really looking forward to all the peonies opening up so I can show you how beautiful they are. You can see with this one here, it's more of a dark red color. Right nearby to that peony are some more bleeding hearts. They've been blooming for a number of weeks, so these old-fashioned bleeding hearts will eventually start to fade, and the color of the leaves will become yellow. You can see that they're starting to inside there. And then I'll have to then cut back the plant. I do want to show you that the old-fashioned bleeding hearts are going to seed, and a lot of times if you press on it, they'll open up and there'll be little shiny black seeds in there. They're not quite ready yet. And I've made videos showing you my process for collecting the old-fashioned bleeding heart seeds, and I'll put a link to that down in the description below. Here's another iris that we added. You can see it's not quite open yet, but what is open right nearby are some beautiful peonies. I'll bring you in closer so you can see this one here. Look at that. I wish you could smell these. They smell so delicious. And as we continue down this space, I'll tell you that there are a number of peonies that are still budded up. And then there are a number of peonies that are blooming right now. And it's nice to actually have peonies that bloom at different times of the year. And what I noticed about the space in my yard was there was a lot of pink and there was a lot of white. The other color that was missing though was purple, and that was a big reason why I added some of the iris in here. Just look how beautiful they look together, these two plants. And if you look at them and just look barely in the distance, you'll see some of the white as well popping through. This pink colored peony is huge. It's just so big. Look how big that flower is compared to my hand. Oxeye Shasta daisy can be a little bit weedy. It goes to seed. It's pretty prolific like that. But I really am enjoying it in my garden space. I really am. And as long as you deadhead it and don't let it go to seed everywhere, you're fine. So I'm bringing you in closer so you can see a few other peonies tucked in back here. They're all a little unique, a little different. We have some rain coming in, some storms coming in later today into tomorrow. And my fear was I wasn't going to capture this for you. So I ran out here with my camera. I wanted to make sure I got this for you all to enjoy and for me to enjoy. We have a few more peonies here at the end of the bed. And I'm just climbing in here so you can see that one there. So pretty. We also have a clematis, and it looks like it is budded up. Many of the clematis out in this flower bed, I just cut them way back. So they might not give me a ton of blooms, but they might. We'll have to wait and see. And then there are some more of the peonies over here. This guy definitely needs to be divided. That's not a bad problem to have, right? And I think it needs to be lifted. Notice there aren't a lot of blooms in the center. So if you have a peony bush like this one, and there aren't many blooms on it, there are a number of reasons why. It might need to be lifted because it's too deep. Perhaps it's too shady where it's planted, or it simply just needs to be divided. And as we head down this way, where there's a bunch of hydrangeas that were cut back really hard this year, and boy, I'm so happy they were. They're looking really nice. They're looking more like a tree rather than an unruly shrub. I really am enjoying the habit of them. Normally this peony right here struggles to bloom because it was being covered by the hydrangea, and it is loving its life right now. And as we get to the end of this long flower bed here, I still have compost. I've been chipping away at it. This peony also has always struggled because it would get covered by the leaves of the hydrangea. Well, there are a ton of buds on it, and it's one happy camper. This area right here is work in progress, but I just wanted to show you some highlights of what's happening. So I do have a bunch of strawberry plants, and they have flowers on them, and there are even strawberries. You can see them. Some are even starting to turn. So hopefully within the next few weeks, I'll be ready to pick some strawberries from here. In this raised bed are a bunch of alpine strawberries. You can see that there are a bunch of blossoms, and if you actually dig deeper, you'll see that there are some strawberries that are ready to be picked. The old arborvitae bed is still waking up, but you can see, look how beautiful the lobelia, trailing lobelia looks, the bright blue. We planted those together indoors, and then we also planted a whole bunch of coleus as well as begonias, wax begonias. The wax begonias on this side of the bed from day one didn't look that great, so I'm going to bring you on the other side of the bed so you can see close up how they're looking. Most of them look really good. If you see a few toppled over, my wonderful son who's home from college was playing basketball. And honestly, I don't care. I don't care if that happens, because when your kids come home from college, you just let them do what they want to do. You want them to be happy, and that makes me happy. But I had to explain it to you in case you were wondering, wait a minute, Vita, what happened to a couple of those begonias? Life Life happens. It's okay. And you can see the coleus in between here, how they're looking. I'm happy. I'm happy with how this is coming. This flower bed always takes its time, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just fills right in. We just have to be a little patient. Close by to the old arborvitae bed is what I call my hosta garden, and I've slowly started adding hosta to other areas of my yard. But I really am pleased with how this is looking. The drip irrigation has been in this area for 2 years now, and I can really tell the difference. The hosta that are supposed to get larger are getting larger. The small hosta, they only have a maximum size, which is fine. I love every hosta, big and small. And when we say small hosta, that would include these guys right here. I like putting the hosta of the smaller size around the trees here, just to ring them. That's what that bed's looking like. I made an effort to add some of the blue colored hosta towards the back because I noticed, I believe it was last year, there weren't a lot of blue hosta towards the back. And I like sprinkling the blue with the green. The hanging baskets that we made are filling in nicely. A lot of the repeating same type of plants that we see throughout the garden. I really love the colors in this one particular area. I wish I could replicate it everywhere. Many of the plants you see here are very slow to grow for me. And some of those plants include the Japanese painted fern. There are a bunch of different kinds of heuchera in here. The spotted leaves, I don't have any problem with those. Those multiply pretty quickly for me. Those are pulmonaria or lungwort. There are a bunch of hellebore that are in here that I've had a lot of success dividing. The pink flowers, that's the fringed bleeding heart. And then these really cool leaves here. This plant loves shade, so if you have shade, you should definitely look into this plant. It's called ligularia, and it's the bottle rocket variety. Again, it grows slowly for me, but I was able to divide it, so I have 2 pieces of it now. And if you look a little carefully, I could divide that even more. And I could come in and divide this one even more. So once it's done blooming, which should be within the next month, I believe, I'll come in and divide that. And then right behind it, another shade-loving plant is goat's beard. And there are all different types of goat's beard, different heights. And that's a really pretty white color flower. And I bought that from a backyard plant nursery, and I was able to divide it a few times. As we come along this way, there are some other beautiful things happening. The pink spray of flowers, that is on a coral bells. And you can see if you look down this way that we have it pretty much the same type of plants repeating as you go this way. That fern that you see is a maidenhair fern. And then towards the back of this bed, we have a couple of hydrangeas here. Those are the Annabelle hydrangeas. And there are a total of 3 Annabelle hydrangeas towards the back of this bed. I'm always testing things out. I do have a peony towards the back of this bed. But I just wanted to show you the different colors of the heuchera or coral bells and how nicely they look together. And towards the back of the bed are some beautiful columbine. And that's just a close-up of one of them. Here in the rose garden, well, the roses are starting to bud up. They're going to look so pretty once they're all blooming. So we just have to wait. But while we wait, I want you to notice this beautiful display of orange in the center. That is a perennial, and I love this perennial. I really love it. It is a type of coreopsis. So imagine if we didn't have that in the center of this rose garden, there really wouldn't be a lot of color. And then the other color that's in here are some wax begonias that we started from seed. And they're actually looking pretty good. I like how they look next to the coreopsis that's in here. All of this happening while we wait for some beautiful blooms on our roses. Time to head to my messy area of my backyard. There are some beautiful things here, and I just have to show you because they're really shining right now. There is a wonderful clematis here. Just look how bright and vibrant purple those flowers are. So pretty. This is a type of clematis that should be cut back all the way, I believe. See how there are no leaves down there? There are no blooms. So I'll make sure to remember that. That's what's great about either taking pictures or video. It's basically a gentle reminder to ourselves of things we need to do in our garden spaces. Right nearby, as we head this way, is a beautiful beauty bush. And I have not been very good about pruning this back. So notice there are no blooms on the top. But as we come to the base, there are a ton of blooms. A ton of gorgeous blooms. So if you don't have beauty bush in your yard and you're looking for something that blooms during the spring months or early summer months, this is a great option for you. This area is work in progress, and a lot of the peonies didn't have buds on them. I'm going to be moving them anyway this year, and I'll make sure I lift them and I put them in an area where they get more sun. But I want to show you a few peonies that are blooming here. These ones have buds on them, and when I say blooming, I guess I mean it's just barely starting to bloom. By tomorrow, that one will be opened up and will look so pretty. I have a bunch of raised beds here. You will be seeing it soon. I'm working on it. A video that talks a little bit more about these raised beds. And I do need to plant some more of my bush beans. Some have come up, but many have not. Or they're just maybe slow to come up, given our weather. And the same is true for the peas. There are peas in here, but not many. And that's okay. Different day I'll come out here and I'll put some more peas in. And we'll work on this bed some more because tomatoes need to go in. Let's head down in this direction. You can see towards the front there are a wonderful display of coral bells or heuchera. Lots of different beautiful colors. And towards the back is another beauty bush. And clearly the butterflies love the beauty bush. What a wonderful sight to see. We had a number of trees cut down on this side of my house, and I have to admit, I really am enjoying this area so much. So much beauty. It's amazing how letting a little bit of sun makes a garden space just pop. And on the side of my house, you can see there's a ton of hosta here, coupled with the coral bells. A wonderful ground cover, if you live in an area where it's wet and it's shady, is the wild ginger. It has very glossy leaves. It prefers a little more shade than what it's getting now that we've cut the trees, but it still looks glorious. Some astilbe in here. In fact, I noticed today that the astilbe is budded up. So hopefully by our next garden tour, those will be blooming. We're just going to continue heading down this way. Lots of beautiful colors in here. This flower bed that we're looking at is only a few years old. And some of the flowers in here are starting to go by. There's the banana daiquiri geum, the yellow colored flower, and then right behind it, beautiful blue, That's mountain bluet or centaurea. And then right beyond that are a whole bunch of beautiful iris. And there in the distance, right here, is a wonderful weigela, looking so pretty. I just love this plant so much. And I want you to notice how beautiful it looks right here. The pink on the heuchera coupled with the purple or blue of the iris, and in the distance we have the pink on the weigela. As we head this way, towards the front of the flower bed is lamb's ear. And at the back, you can see it, some beautiful iris. And that's what that iris looks like. There's not a lot happening right now in the what I call lilac flower bed. And I want to show you, there are some lilacs that are blooming in this tree, but not a lot. So I need to research that more. Why didn't I have as many lilacs blooming? It could just be that it needed some fertilizer. But nevertheless, I'm enjoying the blooms that are currently on here. We have rain coming, so I need to hurry up with this tour. That's why I'm just showing you the highlights today. So as we head to the front of my house, this area right here is full sun, and this flower bed is called the bay window flower bed. We have some cranesbill geranium dotted on the outside here, and these patches right here are new. I just put them there in the spring, and I got divisions from these larger patches over here. Right behind the cranesbill geranium, they're starting to bud up, is going to be a beautiful display of yellow. And this is the Stella d'Oro daylily. It makes for a wonderful plant in the yard, I feel. Nice border. We have a bunch of coreopsis sprinkled throughout this whole entire flower bed here as we go this way. And then in the center here is some beautiful plants. I'm stepping back just so you can see all the colors that I'm looking at right there and how pretty that looks. So let's go in for a closer look. We have some iris, and I'll be honest, I can't wait to see what that one looks like. But as we wait, we have to take in the rest of these bearded iris and how pretty they look, coupled with the lupine in the background. And I thought they were all the same kind, but they're not. They're all a little bit different. Some have a little bit more yellow, some have a little bit more peach, and then some have, I would say, a little bit more of a red color to them. They're just so striking. Here at the front porch, we had put these containers together very recently. That's why they haven't put on a lot of growth, but they still look good. And I'll be sure to give you updates on them as they continue to grow. My pansy holding bed is still holding strong.